Prince Harry is flying back to the UK, but something unusual is happening behind the palace walls. As his plane touches down and he prepares to walk into yet another courtroom battle, the rest of the royal family is suddenly nowhere to be found. Not in London. Not even in the same part of the country. And the timing has everyone talking. Because when senior royals all move in the opposite direction on the exact week Harry returns, it raises a question the palace won't answer publicly. Is this coincidence or a message delivered in silence?
Harry's return to the UK should have been a moment ripe with possibility, a chance for a private meeting, a quiet dinner, even a brief handshake between deeply divided relatives. But instead, something very different is happening. He's returning solely for his legal battle, continuing his long-running fight with major British newspapers. And while he prepares to walk into the High Court, the royal calendar looks strangely hollow, not for the public, but for him, because one by one, every senior royal who could possibly meet with him is suddenly committed elsewhere. No overlap, no chance encounters, no room for misunderstandings. And this pattern doesn't start with a distant cousin or a minor figure. It begins at the top. But the first move comes from the one person many expected him to see. As Harry heads into London, King Charles heads out. On Monday, instead of being anywhere near the capital, the monarch travels to Edinburgh. His destination? The Palace of Holyrood House. Officially, he's hosting the Scottish Investment Forum alongside First Minister John Swinney. The itinerary includes discussions about emerging technology, economic development, and, perhaps most intriguingly, a tasting of Scottish whiskey. All perfectly valid duties, but observers couldn't help noticing something. The timing leaves absolutely no opportunity for a father-son interaction. Not a lunch, not a brief stop-by, not even a photo-friendly 5-minute handshake behind palace gates. To be clear, no one in the palace is saying this is intentional, but the optics are impossible to ignore. When the king chooses Scotland during the exact window Harry is in London, it sends a signal without uttering a word. And the pattern grows even more noticeable once the Queen's schedule is revealed. Just as Charles heads north, Camilla follows, yet surprisingly not with him. She also travels to Scotland, but her schedule places her in separate locations, handling independent engagements. This isn't unusual for working royals, but it adds another layer to the unfolding picture. Instead of staying in England, near London, or anywhere within reach of Harry's visit, Camilla is fully booked across Scotland. No public good luck messages, no family acknowledgement, just silence and distance. And although royal insiders haven't commented, rumors online suggest that the separate scheduling might be intentional, giving both Charles and Camilla a reason to remain unavailable. Again, nothing is confirmed, only speculated, but timing can speak louder than statements. Still, the clearest piece of this carefully arranged puzzle comes from a royal famous for her work ethic. Princess Anne, often described as the hardest working royal, has a schedule packed with 3 separate engagements in Scotland during Harry's visit. She begins with a formal dinner at the Caledonian Edinburgh Hotel as patron of the Eric Liddell community. Her patronages are long-standing, credible commitments and deeply rooted in her public role. But the placement of these engagements raises eyebrows, because Anne's calendar doesn't just place her in Scotland for a day, it anchors her there. Nowhere near Windsor, nowhere near London, nowhere close to Harry. Her team confirms she'll also attend a photographic exhibition marking the 20th anniversary of the Scotland-Malawi partnership. Then she's off to the Balmoral Hotel for a conference appearance. All meaningful engagements, but all perfectly positioned to keep her far from any unexpected reunion. And once again, not a single member of the family breaks this pattern. But this isn't the first time these calendar coincidences have happened, and observers are starting to connect the dots. Whenever Harry returns to the UK, the story seems to repeat itself. Short trips, tight schedules, no family meetings. Royal watchers have noticed it for over a year now. Even when travel dates are public and widely covered, senior royals maintain engagements far from wherever Harry happens to be. No one in the palace says it's intentional, no one confirms any tension, but actions, especially royal actions, are often designed to speak quietly, not loudly, and the pattern is becoming harder to ignore. The King in Scotland, the Queen in separate engagements, Princess Anne across cities, other senior royals tied up in distant regions. These aren't confrontations, they're absences, and absence in the royal world is a message all on its own. But the real question is why this keeps happening and what it means moving forward. Some royal commentators argue that this could all simply be scheduling luck. The monarchy doesn't revolve around Harry's travel plans, and senior royals often plan engagements months in advance. Scotland is a working region for the crown, and duties there are consistent. But that's not the whole story. Others point out that palace officials are extremely aware of optics. They know that a single handshake or photo between Harry and a senior royal could dominate headlines, shift public narratives, or unintentionally suggest reconciliation. And with ongoing legal battles, the palace traditionally avoids becoming entangled in anything tied to active court cases. So while no one will say these absences are strategic, the combination of timing, geography, and silence certainly raises questions, and those questions fuel speculation online. Is this distance personal, practical, symbolic, or simply the monarchy's way of avoiding distractions during sensitive moments? The palace won't say, but silence doesn't erase intrigue, it amplifies it. And as Harry continues his legal battles, the gap between him and his family only seems to stretch wider. When you step back and look at the royal calendar during Harry's visit, something becomes clear. No statements, no invitations, no private meetings whispered about in the press, just a coordinated wave of duty-based distance. King Charles in Edinburgh, Queen Camilla in separate Scottish engagements, Princess Anne crossing between dinners, exhibitions, and conferences. Everyone busy, everyone occupied, everyone just out of reach. For a family known for ceremony, silence is its own form of communication. And in this case, the message isn't harsh, it's controlled, measured, and deliberate. Whether it reflects personal strain, professional caution, or simply scheduling practicality, the result is the same. Harry walks into courtrooms, and the rest of the monarchy walks in the opposite direction. What happens next remains unwritten, but one thing is certain. Sometimes the most powerful messages aren't spoken, they're scheduled.